Everyone has a villain that they can't ignore. Every man has a villain that they can't ignore. Every woman has a villain that they can't ignore. And that villain is you. Okay? Now in this video I'm going to share how self-sabotage would destroy everything you're building. And the only reason why I can tell you this is because for so long I have been fighting my own villain and I won. And I'm going to show you how in this video. So stick around so that you can stop destroying what you're currently looking out for. Alright, so it's quite simple. The point here is a lot of us think that self-sabotage is just something that we can just look at and then just say, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I said that. Oh, no, I shouldn't have done that. Right? My case was, it was protecting me. Right? So think of your self-sabotage as a member of your village. And in this village or kingdom, it comes out whenever things are about to change. You're about to get to close to that woman that seems to be ticking the boxes. You go ahead and say something stupid. You're about to commit to someone that has now decided that despite everything or your imperfections, they've chosen you. You now go ahead and cheat. Or you're building a family and you're watching porn. These are all things that a lot of men don't discuss because you can hopefully escape them, or you can hopefully not have this difficult conversation about the fact that because you don't want to accept the fact that you're not the hero, you're the villain in your household. Not confronting these things makes you feel like the hero because you're trying everywhere else, right? You're showing up, you're providing, you're trying to be there for people emotionally, you're trying to be there for yourself, you're healing, you're working through the process. I'm here to tell you that until you destroy this villain, your house is in danger. Until you destroy whoever is attacking your household, even if it's you, your household is in danger. And there's nothing worse than a man not being in control of his self-sabotaging patterns, because you've become a liability to your own life. Sounds harsh, isn't it? That's the reality I had to face. I had to face that me holding myself back was making me a liability to my own team. I had to face that my naivety was coming at the cost of the people I cared about. And as a leader, that is a question and a confrontation you must have in order for you to build effectively. Because I'm telling you now, you don't do it, fine. But don't complain when they've now said that you've destroyed everything. Don't complain because now you know why it's happening. You know that because you're refusing to take charge of the villain within you, the villain within you is having a field run and is destroying everything that your self-worth doesn't approve of. Because that's where it comes from. Your self-worth will activate or deactivate the villain. And this is why people with a high self-worth wouldn't find themselves self-sabotaging. Right? Let me give you an example of self-sabotaging that I used to go through. I had just built a massive relationship with a higher up in Lloyd's. It took me 3 weeks to message him. And I wasn't surprised when he had me. I'd spoken to a VC, right? Raised 1.4 billion. I didn't message him again. Because I'm like, who am I anyway? Right? Guess what I was doing in reality? Running away from the very thing that was supposed to build my life, my wife's life, my kids' life. I became a liability to my own vision. Because I didn't want to confront my lack of self-worth. The fact that because I came from humble beginnings, there's something in me that told me I don't deserve this. If we look at Saul, right? Saul was a man that was chosen by God. It says, Saul gave in and confessed that sin, I've trampled, rushed all over God's word and your instruction. I cared more about pleasing the people. I let them tell me what to do. Right, so Saul, I just basically confessed that he's a people pleaser. Right? You don't hear the Christians say, oh, it's a sin to people please. Right? The problem is, This was a self-sabotaging pattern. And self-sabotaging patterns, they're silent snipers. They attack when your control is being threatened, when your safety is at question. They are the very thing that, despite everything Peter had witnessed through Christ and been next to him, and I don't want to make this too religious, made him denounce him in front of everyone. They're the very thing that said to Judas, this is the right thing to do. Betray him. You get financial safety in exchange for betraying this person that doesn't make you feel financially safe. Go for it. Look out for yourself. They're the very thing that told Lucifer, hey, you don't need him. This silent sniper is running the show. It's like the CEO that only steps in when he needs to. And the only time it feels that it needs to is when identity, control, okay? So, the moment your safety is threatened, it just needs a whiff. The moment your control is threatened, it needs a bit of kicks. The moment your identity is threatened, once it can see that it's really in danger, it'll step in. And it'll say the horrible thing that you didn't mean to say. And then you say, I didn't mean that. I know you didn't. That's the truth. You actually didn't. Who meant it was the villain inside of you. And until you take charge of him, it will keep showing up whenever there's pressure. Whenever there's any sort of pressure, it will become in charge and say, right, time to people please. This is a strategy, no discussion. You can't even argue with it. It has 99% sharehold of everything you're currently run. Right? What I mean by that is it runs your subconscious mind. Your 1% conscious mind can have it say after the deed. Because it's 1%. The fuck you are. Who are you to talk over me? Excuse me, I decide over here. That's how it processes and how it thinks. And this is why your self-sabotaging pattern, despite you knowing better, will always overrun it. See, it only becomes expensive when it now starts to affect the very people you said you would take care of. Until then, listen, when I was single, and let's say I was interested in someone, and the person now said, I'd like to get to know you more, I'd like to see how this works out, and they pan out, they've got emotional intelligence, they heads on their shoulder, they are beautiful, and they have they know how to deal with conflict. In other words, they're good people, right? It was a phase where I generally only entertained those people because in my process I was, I guess, trying this whole thing in real life, right? So there was generally people I met like that. I was self-sabotage by saying something. I don't know. Maybe I'll find out whose friends is who, and then just say, do you know what? This is never gonna work. I slept with a friend. It's just done. The moment her and a friend in the same room, I'm toasted. So I have self-sabotage. Woo! I get to stay single. Yes! Right? Or generally someone's now saying, do you know what? Let's build something together. Let's have a business. Whatever the case is. I self-sabotage all of them. I said, no, I am staying single. And you know what I will say to them? The truth. It's not you. It's me. I know this villain is running the show. But I don't care because I don't really care about you in the first place. Because I didn't give myself the opportunity to, despite you being a great person, by the way. There's nothing wrong with you. And do you know how many men are in that space? But they're single, so who cares? Try to take that into a relationship. Try to take that into a marriage. That's how you end up cheating and you don't even know why. That's how you end up screaming at your wife and you don't understand why. That's how you end up looking at your son and you're saying, I don't know what's wrong with him. He copied you. He copied the villain inside of you. You just didn't deal with him, so he had to deal with it instead. But he didn't have the weapons. You did. Let's talk about corn. Very uncomfortable conversation for a lot of men. Because you do it silently, it's not really much. It's just something you do on the side. Would you allow your son to do the same thing? Would you allow your son to can he handle it the way you handled it? No? Okay. Well, let me break it down to you. There's a quote that I was reading on Instagram not too long ago. It says, don't try to raise your kids. They will be like you anyway. Raise yourself. As a father, that hits home. Because what do you mean I shouldn't? You know, we do this thing where as parents, we would tell, and I get this now as a parent more than ever, you genuinely wanted to get your kids to do better than you. You did. The problem is, the villain made you look like an hypocrite because he was running the show. So you're telling them not to drink, but you're drinking to escape yourself, to escape the fact that you're not really in charge of your kingdom. The villain is. And it comes out every single time any of those things are threatened. I want to read it again. Don't raise your kids. They will be like you anyway. Raise yourself. Raise your standards. Raise your capacity to be more and do more. Do you know how hard this hits? I grew up with my dad from the age of till I can't remember. He said this to me. He said, son, I don't want nothing from you. Just give me a private jet. That became my identity. That if I don't get this man a private jet before he passes away, I have failed. Love that man to bits. And I thank him because it forced me to expand my mind. That's why I can post regardless. I don't care about the views. Do you know how many people I know that started when I started and just stopped by now? Do you want to know why I'm not stopping? Because if I failed that man, I have failed the very man that has invested the most in me. I watched my wife give birth to my child, destroy her body just so that she can build this family. And you're allowing all these people to allow the villain inside of you to run the show. Really? Is that what you want to be about? People think, oh, why do you hold people accountable? Because I've got enough to carry for myself. I don't have time to blame this person or that person. What am I doing to help the people that looked out for me? Your self-sabotage would destroy you if you don't take care of it. It's as simple as that. It's not just your biggest enemy. It's the one enemy you must destroy. And when I speak to men, okay, when I coach them on a one-to-one basis, I show them what it's costing them. Because it is. It is an expensive trade-off. Every single day you wake up with the villain running your life, telling you that whenever you're pressured, go and watch some corn. Your kids is learning from that. And now your wife will have to protect your child and herself from your villains because you couldn't defeat them. Is that what you want? Your child, your wife, your family has to protect themselves from the very thing you're refusing to face because you're being a coward. You people please. Someone is ruining your family's name. You're probably ruining your family's name. But because you're providing, you're hiding yourself. Hey, listen, I'm providing, so I'm safe. Oh, really? That's not how they think. They think that's a cop-out. Because you're ticking one box, you think that the rest of the destruction that's coming with you should not be handled? Is that what you're saying? I want to read it again. Don't raise your kids. Raise yourself. They're going to be like you anyway. Remember that. I'm not playing here. This is real. This is real. I grew up in a household that saw these patterns play out. I saw what let's keep it. I love my dad to bits. Love him. Love my family to bits. But the villains that they carried into the household are the villains that I had to slash and destroy and ensure that my family doesn't deal with. That is the true role of the warrior in your household. But it doesn't start until you deal with yours first. Deal with your demons. Stop carrying this thing. You know, we do this in men's mental health. Oh yeah, I'm fighting my demons, but they're defeating me. Stop losing. You're in charge. If you lose, everybody else loses. That's the realist. It's heavy, but win. Freaking win. Find a system to deal with these things. I know it sounds nice to say I'm dealing with all these things. I might be gonna be good enough. These are all voices that are saying, my boy, I win when you allow me to speak to you like this. Speak of yourself highly, because you're creating a blueprint. That's why I work with rich people. I'm not saying that most people don't need this. I think everyone does. But the people that take actions are the people that have already defeated some sort of demons in one capacity or the other. And that's the truth of the matter. And I've seen what those conflicts are like. And I'm not here to scold you. I'm here to help you rise up, pick up your sword, and win your battles. Because no one else is going to do that for you. Man or woman. So, I want to end today's conversation, which has been a heavy one, as you can tell, with you don't lose control of yourself, but you do lose the battle when you don't understand how to lead yourself. So if you're ready to change that, book a call in the bio, and I'll see you in the next one.